Hey team, we are going to do a very quick tutorial video on how to do a mail merge using your database in Harcourts 1 and using that into a letter that you've prepared in Microsoft Word. The basics of putting this together is written right down in front of you. The steps are, first of all, we need to download your database into an Excel format, meaning that if you aren't using Harcourts 1 and you do already have it in an Excel document, then you can use that straight away. You don't need to use that step. Obviously, the second step is you need to write your letter. Then you need to convert your letter and combine that with your database. Then we need to preview and edit the results, and then of course merge and print. So look, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is download the database from my H1. So very simply, I might go to my contacts, or I might select a group. I would always recommend that you've got a group of people with addresses. You might just call this your mail merge group. And that way you can just sort of only send this to the people that you know have addresses in your database. So to do that, I might just click on contacts. Now I can obviously select a group from using the add a rule function, select in group, and then select the group and or groups that I want to send to. So in this case here, I might just send it to my friends and family, add rule. And I can repeat this and add it to as many groups as I would like. Now when I go ahead and click search now, that will just bring out, in this case here, the 36 contacts from my database that I want to send that to. So the next thing I need to do is export the data. So to do that, I can just click on this tick box here next to 36 contacts found, and that will select all the contacts. Then in the drop down menu for select action, I can scroll down until I see this export function, and naturally I want to export for a mail merge. So that was select all the contacts, select action, and then select mail merge. Now that's going to open up an Excel document for me here. I've just downloaded that there. You can see this has got all my postal addresses, all of the information from Harcourts 1. Now what I want to do is just save this in a place that's going to be easy for me to find. So I'm just going to go and do a save as, so file, save as, and I'm just going to save that onto my desktop. Now it's always good to use a file name that you'll remember. I prefer that you use a date, otherwise all the downloads you find will get out of date really quickly. So I'm just going to write 26th of July database example. Now the save as type is important as well. You notice that this is saved as a Unicode text. Now for this to work, you really want it to be an Excel workbook. So just change the format to Excel workbook. So just underneath file name, save as type, I've just clicked on that and I'm going to select Excel workbook. And I'm going to hit save. Okay. Now once I've done that, I can cross out of this. I don't need that anymore. I don't need Harcourts 1 either. So I've downloaded my database. The next step is to write my letter and merge the database. So I've got a pre-made a letter here. It's an example one for my new market reports for the days. Now you can choose to use the letters from Harcourts 1. The example was I made, or I might choose to write your own. But the key is you can write this exactly the same as you would always do in Microsoft Word, but now it's actually creating the merge fields. So to make this letter work, there's a couple of merge fields that I want to use. So mainly at the top I want to include the address block where I put their name and their address that can go into a window-faced envelope, for example. For the simple example, I might also want it to say dear first name, so I personalize it for each of the contacts that I'm sending it to. So the next step is to combine that Excel list to my letter. Now all the work that we're doing for the mail merge is sitting right here in this mailings tab. Now if you're using different versions of Microsoft Word, you might have to dig a little deeper, especially if you're using it on a Mac, but you will find it if it's on a Mac under Tools and then Mailings. So here we go, the Mailings tab. Now in Mailings we just need to work left to right. The first step is we need to select recipients. So I'm going to click on that drop down menu and I'm going to select use an existing list. So that was Mailings, recipients, choose an existing list. And I'm just going to go and grab that document that I saved earlier on my desktop. Okay, so 26th of July example. There we go. Okay. Now you notice that when I do that, when I go back to the mailings tab, I can now keep moving to the right. So I've selected my recipients. The next step is to include the merge fields. So here where it says insert merge field, when I click on that drop down menu, it's important that you click on the drop down and not up the top here. This is the list of all of the different merge fields you can use. Now I'm just going to keep mine relatively simple at the moment. So I'm just going to go and click where I want the merge field. So here we go, I'm just going to put in the address block up the top. Mailings, insert merge field, first name. Now you notice that when you see it in this format here and you see it with these two arrows, that's the merge field. So that means that it's going to produce an individualized and personalized document for every person that I've uploaded to. Now I just want to treat this like text. So for example, if you want a space between first name and last name, you need to include the space there. So first name, space, mailings, merge field, last name. Now I just want this to display exactly how I want it to display on my letter. So here we go. To display it how I would recommend you set up an address block, I'm just going to go mailings. After this I'm going to put address 1, space, mailings, address 2. I'm going to go down a line. Mailings, insert field. I'm going to go and do suburb. I'm going to do mailings, postcode. And then I might finish off with mailings, city. And depending on where you're sending this to, I might also include the region. Now there's my address block. I might also choose to personalize the dear, so I might include a salutation if I've used that field, otherwise just use dear first name. Now I've now set up this to work properly. So going back to our instructions here, we've downloaded the database, we've written our letter, we've merged now the database with a letter, now we want to preview and edit the results. So when I come back here, back in the mailings tab, remember I'm just working left to right, I can click on this function here, preview results. And that's going to bring up how this is going to display with my database. So here we go, Adam Herman's my first example. Now I can use these little arrows to then cycle through my database and see how that's displaying with all of the people inside that group. And I should be able to see where, for example, people are missing details, maybe things are spelt wrong. Now this is a really good indicator of how clean your database is. You want to really make sure that you've got the names in there, that you don't forget to include postcodes, that you don't forget to include suburbs and capital letters, symbols like that. Now, what you may well find is there's a couple of results here that have either missing details, incorrect spelling, etc. And this is where it comes to the final step. So if I wanted to actually edit any of these, this is where my options are. So if I just simply made a mistake on how the information is displaying, like I might have put this line on the wrong line, I can just uncheck preview results and I can edit where I want these things to display. Okay. However, if I just wanted to make small changes to the actual spelling, for example, let's just pretend that I'd spelled Chris Kennedy wrong. I can click on finish and merge, and here's my final step. If I was happy with my database and I was happy with how it displayed, I'll just click print documents and that would print them all straight to your printer, all personalized. If I wanted to make edits, I would go finish and merge and then click on edit individual document. I would select all, okay? And then that turns that one letter into personalized documents on each page. So let's pretend I misspelt Bev McCulloch and I might want to call her Beverly. I can just edit the individual documents. In some cases, for example, I don't have Brendan's address, I can just delete his entire page. Oops. And that just won't use it. Sorry. There we go, that'll just move it up to the next one. What's important is if you do make changes here, I'll just write it down on a piece of paper next to me, so I make changes in my database so I don't have to go and make these changes every time. So there we go, team, in a very quick result there. To finish, obviously, I just need to print this off. Control P, print, and that's done. So in a nutshell, that is how you complete a mail merge. So in short, remember the basics. We need to download the database, make sure it's in an Excel format. Once you've written your letter, you just need to merge your database with your letter using the mailings tab. You can preview and edit your results and then merge and print. All of it's done in the mailings tab here. Work left to right and you'll be right. Good luck, everyone.